directly to the state of that report directly to the state of Illinois. Uh, we we are actually the largest agency with over 15,000 employees, and we are overall in the business of helping. We help the residents of Illinois gain access to social human services programs and resources to enhance their lives. For example, we manage various programs that include programs that allow residents access to food, shelter, affordable childcare, and healthcare coverage. Our services actually reach one in every third Illinois resident, so we're quite busy. We are composed of 6 divisions: the Division of Developmental Disabilities, and they have 7 hospitals throughout the state of Illinois that operate 24/7. And they deliver quality programs and services to support individuals with disabilities. We have the Division of Mental Health, who also has 7 facilities throughout the state of Illinois that also operate 24 hours, 7 days a week, and they ensure that people with mental illness and emotional disturbances have access to adequate mental health care and services. The Division of Family and Community Services manages services and programs such as the WIC program, Medicaid, SNAP, cash assistance, affordable child care, and healthcare services. The Division of Rehabilitation Services has about 75 offices and 3 schools for the deaf and visually impaired, and they help people with disabilities achieve independent living through employment programs and educational programs. Division of Substance Use and Prevention and Recovery. They fund over 1,000 programs statewide that offer preventative treatment, recovery, and intervention services. The division, the final and um, most recent addition is the Division of Early Childhood. Again, Division of Early Childhood, and they administer community-based prevention and intervention programs to strengthen capacity of children, adolescent women, and men to make healthy decisions utilizing support systems and access opportunities and achieve self-sufficiency. So we have a lot going on with the Department of Human Services. We also offer excellent benefits. That this is a great reason to work for the state of Illinois. We offer um, health, dental, vision insurance, and the nice thing is there is no waiting period. Your health, dental, and vision benefits kick in day one. We offer 12 paid holidays a year, 12 sick days, vacation days, 10 of those, 3 personal days, and you start accruing your paid time off on day one, which is also nice. Um, However, there is a probation period, uh, so that you have to wait to use your sick personal vacation time. Now, as far as holiday pay, as soon as you start, if there's a holiday the next day, then you're paid for it. But other than that, your all benefits pretty much kick in the first day of employment. We also offer an excellent pension program and deferred compensation program as well. And that's one nice benefit that you receive by working for the government. You get this state pension. We also offer flexibility to change careers. We have very strong promotional track systems in place where there are various levels. So like if you're a social worker, mental health technician, a registered nurse, even an accountant, there are promotional levels within the system that will allow you to grow in your career. And because we're so large, you don't have to leave IDHS to grow within your profession. So those opportunities um, are available frequently throughout our agency. If you're bilingual, if we hire you into a position that requires you to speak your native language or a second language, you are paid an additional 5% of your annual salary. And finally, we have a 37.5-hour work week versus 40. So just to allow additional work-life balance. We also offer tuition reimbursement, which will help you um, let's say you start as a mental health technician, which is equivalent to a CNA, and you want to go to nursing school to become a registered nurse. We offer tuition reimbursement at 100% as long as you go through a program that has been approved by the agency. So lots of great benefits. Let's see here. So some of the high need professional job titles that we consistently hire throughout the year, and a lot of these positions have various levels, and that's why we hire for them consistently because we have individuals that are promoting up to the next level, therefore vacating some of these entry level titles. So we hire for a social services career trainee, and basically what that position does is they meet with clients and you would assess the client's case and recommend programs and services that they may qualify for and guide them through the application process. We hire educators. I mentioned earlier, we have 3 schools. So we hire educators, especially with, educators that have a background with working with students with special needs. So if you have like a special ed endorsement, we would definitely you'd be a strong candidate for one of those educator positions. We hire nurses. I mentioned earlier, we have 14 facilities that operate 24/7. So we hire nurses at those facilities throughout the state. Dietitians, we hire those as well. Activity therapists, and they develop and provide groups with individual activity uh, therapy programs to help them meet their needs. We also have a large accounting department, so we are often hiring individuals for our finance department. We have a rehabilitation counselor trainee, and what they do is they work with clients on helping them gain and maintain competitive employment. They also help clients access resources and services to help them remain independently living in their homes and communities. We have an accountant technician one. That position, as long as you have 2 years of college or 3 years of experience, you can definitely apply for that. Other high need titles that do not require a college coursework or a college degree are like a mental health technician, and they're equivalent to a CNA. They work closely with the registered nurses and provide direct patient care and assistance to the residents that live at one of our 14 facilities. We hire security officers, store clerks, um, and the store clerks work in a warehouse, so they usually perform manual labor and routine clerical record keeping tasks and shipping and receiving tasks as well. Support service worker, they work in the food and nutrition department, preparing and serving food and cleaning and operating food service equipment. We hire office assistants, office associates, um, and these positions pretty much just require a high school diploma. They might require experience, but most do not. We have a public aid eligibility assistant, and they create and obtain necessary information from persons applying for public assistance. They explain the programs and set them up to meet with one of our intake specialists. So there's clerical work available. There's service positions available. We hire cooks as well, and the cooks prepare foods, and um, that's pretty much what they do. They're cooking depending on what the dietitian recommends. Then the cook is in charge to cook the foods that meet those special diets. So as you can see, we have something for everyone. For the most part, um, we hire individuals for professional titles. We hire dentists, we hire psychologists, psychiatrists. We have technical jobs. We have very large IS department as well. And we hire in various positions for various levels. We also have a large procurement department, so we often post jobs for those areas as well. So one of the biggest, I guess I don't want to say complaints, but we often hear from people that say our recruitment, or not the recruitment, but the application process, the overall employment process is a bit overwhelming and intimidating. It's confusing, and that's why we hold these virtual events to try to break down the process, simplify the process, and encourage individuals to apply. So that's what we're going to do real quick here. So if you're interested in a position with IDHS, the first thing you want to do is visit our website, because that's going to give you the latest and greatest vacancies. And you will also read the job description for each position, and also the instructions on how you should be applying for that particular job that you're interested in. So you want to visit our website, you want to search for jobs, you want to review the job posting, and follow the specific application process, because there are two different application processes to follow if you want to apply for a specific job. So once you complete and submit your application, you want to make sure that you've apply by the application closing date, because we typically post jobs for 14 days. In some cases it may be longer, but most of our jobs only post for 14 days. You can also create job alerts on our website so that you're not missing out on any future employment opportunities, considering we have such a short application window for most of these jobs. So I mentioned earlier, there are two ways to apply. Some jobs will require you to fill out the CMS 100 PDF document. And that's just a document that you would download straight from the job posting to your computer. You wanna go ahead and save it to your desktop, and then complete the application. And again, obviously save it to your desktop. And then that application, once it's completed, you are to email it to the agency contact that is listed on the job posting. Now, some of our other positions require you to apply online, and these positions are typically like registered nurses and administrative jobs. You'll find that most of those jobs require an online application, and to apply online, you simply just have to click on the apply button that's on the posting. Eventually, all of our jobs will require an online application. Right now, we're going through a transition period, and that's why you see that we have two different processes, but eventually it'll all require an online application. What is confusing is that every posting has an apply button, but the instructions on the posting will tell you otherwise if they want you to apply using the CMS 100 PDF document. So the CMS 100 application, there are some jobs that require an exam. There are some jobs that will not require an exam. For all jobs that require an online application, there is no exam for those specific jobs. So if the job you're applying for requires, does not require an exam, basically all you have to do is submit your CMS 100. It's going to be graded, and that the grading process right now is taking between 12 and 15 weeks. Once your application is graded, you're going to receive a grade notice in the mail telling you if you received a passing grade. A passing grade would be either an A, B, or C. Anything under a C is considered fail. If you receive a passing grade for the specific job that you applied for, that confirms we're going to add your name to the eligible to hire list for that specific title. As positions become available in the counties that you selected, you are available to work at, if your name is next on the list, then someone from our HR department will contact you to either schedule an interview or offer you the job. Now, if you're interested in 5 different titles, each title is going to require its own application. You cannot apply for 3 or 2 titles or more than 1 title on one application. For the jobs that require an exam, once you submit your CMS 100, there's nothing else to do but wait for someone from our testing center to contact you to schedule a date and time for you to test at one of our testing centers. And that process takes about 16 to 20 weeks to receive that phone call. Once you have a date and time to test, you're going to go to one of our testing centers. You're going to complete the exam, and the exam can take anywhere between an hour and a half to 3 hours. It really just depends on the type of job that you're applying for. The nice thing is once you complete your exam, you will automatically get a grade once you submit your exam. So you will walk out of the testing center knowing if you passed or not. If you do pass, again, that's confirmation. We're going to add you to the eligible to hire list for that specific title. And again, as positions become available for that specific title in the counties that you selected on your application, if your name is next on that eligible to hire list, HR will contact you again with a job offer or a request interview. Now, again, all jobs that require an online application, there is no grade issued for those specific titles, and there are no exams. So searching for a job is very easy. You're going to go to this website, dhs.state.il.us/jobs or /jobs. You're going to view the jobs. Searching jobs is very simple. You can search jobs by county, by city, by specific job title. You can select jobs by agency. Again, you would select, in our case, Department of Human Services, and you can also search for jobs by job function. Maybe you're looking for an administrative management job, you can select that, or a healthcare position, then you can also select healthcare. Or if you're looking for accounting or a finance position, then you would select by that function. So once you identify the job you're interested in, again, pay close attention to the closing date. If you submit a CMS 100 employment application after the closing date, we will not process it. If you're applying for a job that requires an online application, once the closing date once we arrive to the closing date, the posting will automatically shut down, so you're not able to apply once the closing date expires. Again, review the posting carefully because it's going to tell you exactly if you should be applying by using the CMS 100 PDF document or if you should be applying by using the online system. If you apply online, an easy way to know if the position requires you to apply online, you're going to see in big red bold letters a statement that says a resume is required. Anytime we require a resume, it's because we want you to apply online. When you hit the apply button, it's going to ask you to upload your resume, and the system is really smart. It's going to go ahead and take the information from your resume and populate it onto the online application. We recommend that you still triple check the information, make sure the computer did actually grab the correct information and transfer it to the right section on the employment application. If the position requires you to apply to apply by using the CMS 100, you're going to be able to download it straight from the posting. Make sure that you complete the CMS 100 PDF document on a computer. We've had several people say they can't download it because they're trying to download it, maybe on their phone. I'm not sure if every tablet will allow you to do it, but definitely if you're on a computer, you should not have any issues. You want to save the PDF to your computer. Make sure that you enter the correct title and the complete title. Do not abbreviate because we want to make it very specific and easy for CMS, Central Management Services, which is the state, to identify which specific job you're applying for. All jobs have bid IDs, also known as requisition IDs. Make sure you include that specific number on the bid ID feature on the CMS 100. That again is going to make it easy for us to identify which specific job you're applying for. We still require Social Security number on the CMS 100. That is the only way we can identify and track your candidacy right now. Like I said, eventually we will, step away from Social Security numbers, but for right now, if you submit a CMS 100 with a shortened Social Security number, we will not process your application. Make sure if you speak a second language that you include that on the application, because if you speak a second language and you receive a passing grade on your CMS 100, we're going to add you to 2 eligible to hire lists. If you're Spanish speaking, we'll add you to the monolingual eligible to hire list and the Spanish speaking. eligible to hire list. Same thing if you speak Polish or Chinese, you're getting on 2 eligible to hire lists, increasing your chances of landing a job with the state. Make sure you sign your application. When I say sign your application, all you have to do is type in your name and date on the employment application, which is the CMS 100. When you're completing your experience on your work history and work experience on the CMS 100, make sure you include all experience, because we give you credit for paid or unpaid. So if you were a volunteer, if you completed an internship, add that add that to the CMS 100 so you get credit for it. Make sure you double check your information before you submit it. Definitely save a copy of the posting for the job you're applying for. In all cases, once the application window closes, that posting is gone for good, and it's really, I could say it's impossible to find or get a copy of that specific posting. So you want to save the posting so that if you are invited for an interview, you can prepare for the interview by reviewing the posting. And then submit your CMS 100 following the specific instructions that are listed on the posting. I should also mention, when you fill out a CMS 100, do not include a resume. When we grade your application, it is strictly based on the information that's on the CMS 100. We often receive CMS 100s that are half filled out, but then they send a resume. Well, at the end of the day, your grade is going to be only based on the information that's on the CMS 100. We won't even look at your resume. The CMS 100 is the legal document in it, and that is the only information we use when grading your application. And just to clarify a little bit, when we grade your application, the CMS 100, that is for positions that do not require an exam. If you're applying for a job that requires an exam and you filled out a CMS 100, then your grade is determined based on the results of your exam, just to clarify. Now, this is an example of the top of the first page of the employment application. Position title, again, make sure you include a full title, do not abbreviate. Under option is where you want to include your second language, if you speak Spanish, Polish, Chinese, or any other language. The bid ID that's where you're going to put the position number. That's going to help us identify which job you're applying for. Under SSN, enter your full social security number, obviously name, address, your email address. And then under number 7, it's going to allow you to pick 2 counties where you are willing and available to work at. So depending on where you live, if you live in Chicago, maybe you can only work in Cook County, but if you live where I live out in the suburbs, I can actually travel to 4 different counties. So it just depends. But when jobs become available, if you are added to the eligible to hire list, these are the counties on the application that you indicated which you will be considered for. So if you type in, Cook and DuPage, and jobs become available in those areas for those specific titles that you received a passing grade for, those are the only counties we're going to consider you for. Under the business, trade, and correspondence school page, here is where you want to be very detailed. Do not abbreviate. Make sure you answer and you include the specific information that we are asking for. So if you fill out question 14, and it says, give us the name and address of the college you went to, you want to indicate the name and address. City and state. How many semester hours or quarter hours did you earn? What's your major, your minor? How many years did you attend? And the level of education earned. Make sure you complete this section thoroughly, because it is going to impact your grade. There is a question, which is page 14. Actually, no, it's actually question 14. It's the second part of it. This one, we often get people inquiring because they're not really sure how to fill out this section of the application, and it's pretty basic, pretty simple. Basically, what they're asking for is the total number of hours earned broken down by subject area. If you earn semester hours or quarter hours, an example here in accounting, if you have 20 semester hours in accounting, then you're just going to type in 20. Biology, 17, just enter 17. And that's really all they're looking for. Often people don't have their transcripts and they don't have the actual information, but you can fill it out to the best of your recollection. I will tell you, if you leave this question blank and submit transcripts, you are not going to get any credit for your education. So you want to make sure you fill out this section thoroughly to the best of your recollection. If you have the transcripts in front of you, even better. But that's actually one of the main reasons we reject applications, because people don't include a correct title, a full social security number, or they didn't sign their application, or they completely skip that section of the application I just reviewed. If the job you're applying for does not require any college coursework, you don't have to fill out that section, because it's not going to impact your grade, because we don't require the education. But if it does require college coursework, then you definitely want to fill out that section. Now, here is an example of the work history page. You want to be very detailed. Make sure that you include all your experience. If you worked in a bank and held 3 different titles, make sure you break down each title and all your duties and responsibility for each of these various titles. The state wants to know, they don't only want to know what you did, but they also want to know for how long you did it, because again, all of that extra experience is going to impact your grade. So once you submit your CMS 100, the sample letter on the left is a grade notice you would receive in the mail when you apply for positions that do not require an exam. What you'll see is they're going to include the specific title you applied for. If you were graded for a second language, it's also going to be included on the letter. There's going to be an exam date. So if you get a passing grade, your passing grade is good for 1 year. So if you get a passing grade, we can call you maybe, a month after you received your grade notice and offer you a job or an interview. We can call you 11 months later. In some cases, we may not call you at all, because maybe there are enough names on that eligible to hire list to fill the vacancies, and we just did not quite get to your name. If a whole year goes by from the date on this letter and we did not call you for an interview or a job offer for that specific job title, then basically you have to start the process over again. When you receive this grade notice in the mail, make sure that all the information is correct, so that we have correct information in the system for you. On the right-hand side, this is a grade notice for a position that requires an exam. So you'll also see that there's a job title, there's an exam date. It tells you the grade you received. It breaks down your results, so that's always nice to know, where you need extra practice in if you did not receive a passing grade. But again, both grade notices are good for 1 year, so that just confirms that your name is on the eligible to hire list for 1 year. After a year goes by, your name falls off the eligible to hire list. If you didn't get a job, then you have to restart the process. As far as testing locations, we have 5 different locations throughout the state of Illinois. So depending on what job you applied for, that's where you're going to test at the nearest testing center. Testing, again, is by appointment only. CMS will contact you directly to schedule a testing date. You can't contact them, and you can't just walk in at one of the testing centers. You have to be scheduled ahead of time by one of our testing representatives. Career counseling, we have thousands and thousands of job titles, and some of our job titles are specific to the state of Illinois. So we definitely recommend that you take advantage of career counseling. And what they do is career counseling can help orient you and point you in the right direction as to what jobs you should be applying for based on your qualifications. And career counseling is offered either by mail or email. We definitely recommend email because it's much faster. Our career counseling staff will work with you to evaluate your education, your experience, as well as your employment interest, preference, salary expectations, and geographical location to determine the titles that are the best fit for you. The career counseling counselor will then provide you with a list of potential state titles that you qualify for and should apply for. We highly recommend this service. If they receive your CMS 100, they will also provide feedback on any, they might identify errors on your CMS 100 and give you tips and recommendations on how to improve your candidacy. We also offer a disability opportunities program, and this program provides disability accommodations for state employment testing and application completion. Accommodations are available at all of our 5 testing centers. So if you have an interest, you must submit your request through directly to the Disabled Workers Program staff in Springfield, and their contact information is listed here. We also, if you're a veteran, we have a veterans outreach program. If you are a veteran, you may get veteran preference by receiving extra points added to your passing grade and appointment preference. But first, you must establish veteran status by contacting the veteran outreach program directly to establish this status. If you have an interest in either program, please contact them directly. So you submitted your application, now what? So if you receive a passing we often hear, I applied and I never heard back. It might be that the job was filled by an internal employee. And that's another benefit of working with the state. Internal employees get preference for promotional opportunities throughout the agency. So again, if we fill that job internally, no action will be taken on your application. So you're not going to receive a grade in the mail. And if it requires testing, then we're not going to contact you for testing because the job has already been filled. Now, if the job is not filled internally, now we're going to take action on your application. So that means if it doesn't require a test, you're going to receive a grade notice in the mail. And if it does require a test, then you will receive that phone call from our testing center. If your title requires an automated test, again, the testing center will contact you directly for that. If the title does not require the automated test, you will receive the grade notice in the mail and allow 10 to 12 weeks for that notice to arrive. Once you have established a passing grade, then we're going to place you on the eligible to hire list for that specific title, and then HR would contact you for either an interview request or a job offer, and priority will be given to individuals that get a higher grade. So when a position becomes available, we're going to call the A's before we call the B's. We're going to call the B's before we call the C's. If we, if you got a C, we may never contact you because there were enough people on the A list and the B list to fill those jobs. So it is important that you really carefully complete your application thoroughly so that you are getting the highest grade possible. So just to recap, there are 2 different ways to apply, and the way you're going to know is by reading the job posting, and it's either going to be submitting the CMS 100 or applying online. Be truthful, thorough, and detailed. Do not abbreviate when you fill out your applications. Be conscientious of the application closing date, because if you apply after that, we cannot process your application. Testing is by appointment only. Your grade is good for 1 year. No grades will be issued for management jobs, or I should put, for the jobs that require an online application. If you apply online, do not expect a grade notice in the mail or an invite to test. If you received your grade and it wasn't what you expected, let's say you got a B or a C instead of an A, you do have 90 days to appeal. And if you appeal, you definitely will hear back within 30 days as far as, what the decision was made, if you should, you know, if you do qualify for a higher grade or not, with an explanation. Now, if you appeal your grade, you can submit a new CMS 100. Let's say you totally forgot to include, those extra 5 years from back in the day. When you appeal, you'll want to submit a new CMS 100 that's, completed thoroughly with all your experience in education. On the CMS 100, you'll send it to the appeal department. And like I said, they're really good about getting back to you within 30 days. And then also take advantage of the career counseling services. Like I said, there's many, many titles, and they will definitely point you in the right direction. And remember that if the information is not on the application, in our eyes, it didn't happen, and you will not receive credit for it. So it's not, we don't, I even look at a resume. We only base our decision based on the CMS 100 or your online application. So I reviewed a lot of information. If you have any questions, which we will open it up a little later, but here is our contact information. You will also receive a copy of the slides, and please feel free to reach out, stay in touch. That's what we're here for, to answer any questions and simplify this process for you, break it down as easily as possible. And we take pride in returning emails within 24 hours. All right, I'm going to pass it on to Zuya. I might have gone over a bit.
Hi, so should I share my screen now?
Yeah, and also we have the Chinese session is actually scheduled for 15 minutes from now. So we can actually, if it's the same presentation but in Chinese, then I think that now would be the opportunity for question and answer from the English speaking attendees or whoever is in the room right now. Yeah, so if you have questions, please unmute yourself.
I have a question. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Claire.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, so as Davina was talking about earlier, she mentioned like if there are multiple counties available for that position, you can apply for multiple counties. I'm just wondering, does that only apply to like situations where you can commute to those counties? I mean, given the pandemic and everything, are there certain jobs that might be available in other counties that you don't have to commute to, that you can work, from home, like remotely, even though it's a different county?
That's a great question, and it's a very popular question. Right now, we don't have many jobs that are 100% virtual positions forever. A lot of our jobs are requiring you to work virtually, but depending on the job that you're applying for, you may have to report to the office once or twice or more days a week. Right now with the pandemic, we are definitely looking at virtual opportunities that will allow you to work virtually for good, but it just depends on the position you're applying for. Right now, like I said, we don't have those indefinite virtual jobs posted, but don't be surprised if most of these jobs are going to require either through this pandemic, they're going to require you to work from home until we decide what we're going to do. But again, some of these jobs, for example, a mental health technician or registered nurse, those jobs can't, serve our residents virtually. They have to be in-person positions, but like the social services career trainee, that job, you're meeting with clients and assessing their cases and having those conversations and guiding our residents, or I'm sorry, our clients. Those positions right now are working mostly from home, but they do require 1, 2, or 3 days a week in the office. So I
Oh,
guess the best answer is keep an eye on our website. You know, there may be some all 100% virtual jobs pop up, but right now I don't know of any.
okay. So basically, if it's all virtual, it will say so very
Yes,
specifically in the job description.
correct.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I have
Any
a
other
question.
questions? Sure.
Are all the job openings are full-time only or just part-time positions as well?
That's an excellent question. All of our jobs are full-time. The only part-time position that you'll see pop up in, you know, every once in a while is a nursing job. Other than that, all of our jobs are full-time.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Pedro. I have a question.
Sure.
Yes, can I apply for multiple different positions or I have to apply one position at a time?
Nope, you can apply for as many jobs that you qualify for. If you're interested in 10 jobs, submit 10 different applications. Here's the thing, if you receive a passing grade, let's say you apply for a mental health technician. If you receive a passing grade for that title, then you don't have to apply, you know, 3 more times when you see that job pop up on our website, because you already received a passing grade. That's confirmation that you are already on the eligible to hire list. So everything is processed individually per job title. But yes, you can definitely apply for as many jobs that you qualify for.
Oh,
Or I
great.
should
Thank you
say
so much.
titles. You're
Oh,
welcome.
titles. Thank you.
Mhm. Any other questions? I should also mention, when you read the job postings, there are required knowledge, duties, and experience, and then there are preferred. If you see a posting that says, you know, we prefer someone that has a master's degree, and the job maybe requires a bachelor's, you can apply for that job if you have a bachelor's. If you don't have a master's, that's okay, because it was just a preference. So when you read the postings and you're trying to identify if you qualify for those jobs, what you want to focus on are requirements. That's what's going to help identify if you qualify or not. If you see a preference and you, or there's a posting and you meet all the requirements, but you don't meet all the preferences, we encourage you to apply because you technically qualify for that title. And
Hi,
then just to, sure, go ahead.
sorry.
Oh.
I just have a quick question about requirement. You know, is there, do you guys have any particular requirement regarding the immigration status or citizenship or something like this?
I will tell you, as long as you have work authorization, you should apply for a job with us. Now, one thing we don't do is right now we do not sponsor visas. But outside of that, if you have work authorization, we would consider you.
Sounds great. Thank you.
You're welcome. These are really good questions. So if anyone else has a question, please feel free. Now's the time.
Oh, yeah, like this is Pedro again. I have a question. How do I prepare for the test? I am not sure how, if that's something you can share.
Sure. A lot of these exams are testing for like math. It just depends on the job title. Comprehension. They're basic skills tests for the most part, testing, you know, reading, writing, comprehension, math. And I think there's a, let me see, there's, I know on the grade notice, there's a breakdown. Let me see if I can open that up here. I know Zuya has it up on her screen, but you know, looking at this grade notice, it's slide 20. On the grade notice here, it says, you know, they're testing for records and reports, English usage. So that's, you know, grammar, reading comprehension, public relations. So it depends on the job title. Is it the one before that, Suya? It's the one with the 2 grade notices. There you go. So, but for the most part, I would say they're really testing on basic skills. So if you know, brush up on basic math, reading, writing, comprehension, you should do well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I have a question. So
Sure.
if we were applying for a bilingual position, is it a must that you have to read or write? You have to be able to read and write the language?
So here's the way it works. If you apply and you add a second language, let's say a position becomes available, you're next on the list, we offer you the job, you accept the job. If we're hiring you for a job that requires you to speak a second language, we're going to test you to see your fluency in your oral fluency and your written fluency. So there is an exam, you know, there in the exam typically is someone's going to ask you questions and assess your response to see if you know, if you understood verbally the language. And then there's also going to be a written portion where they're going to give you a statement and you're going to translate it. Maybe it's English to Spanish, or I'm sorry, or the whatever language, or let's say Chinese to English. So that's how they're going to assess if you're able to communicate in writing. But it's not a very difficult exam.
So let's just say if we can only comprehend, but we can't read or write, can we still submit that we are a second?
Yes, and depending on the title, maybe they don't grade you heavily on the written portion. So it just depends on the responsibilities of that specific title. So if you speak a second language, I encourage you to apply and add it to your application. I mean, at the end of the day, it won't hurt anything.
Okay.
If you don't meet the requirements and you don't pass the test, then, you know, obviously they probably won't, more than likely won't offer you the job. But at least you know, if let's say you're not very confident, but maybe the job doesn't require high level fluency for that specific title, and you get a passing grade because they're not really heavily scoring you, you know, based on the written portion. And you may pass and get the job. So it doesn't hurt to try because you're testing anyway.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Amelia, someone is also asking, like, do we have any positions require Japanese in the chat?
Yes, I mean, we serve the entire state of Illinois, so there's every language we have to serve. So yes, every once in a while we do have a request for Japanese.
I have a question.
Sure.
My husband's Filipino. Unfortunately, he can't join us today, but I was taking notes for both of us. He was also wondering, do you have positions for Filipinos?
Yes, like Tagalog.
Yeah, Tagalog. He's
Tagalog.
actually, yeah, Tagalog. He does speak both. So he actually is from Cebu. So it's a southern part of the Philippines. So they have their own language there, and it's like Visayan or Cebuano. So
Mhm.
he speaks two dual languages, so for Philippines. So yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
so on his application, he can include both languages.
okay. And there's positions opening for that. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. And if the position you apply for requires an exam, all testing is done on a computer, just as an FYI. Yes, and we still have time for questions, I believe.
This person, somebody just asked, are in-person interviews required?
No, it depends on the position, but I will say most interviews are virtual interviews because of, the pandemic. In the past, I'd say 99% of the interviews were in person, but right now I could say it's probably 100% or 99.9 that are virtual interviews.
All right. Thank you so much, Amelia. And thank you everybody for coming tonight. If you all have the chance, please keep in touch, and also please fill out an exit ticket for us so that we can get some feedback and know what we can do better next time, and what other types of digital literacy and job opportunities and job trainings that you all are interested in. If that is all, then yeah, thank you everybody and good night. We are going to switch over now to admitting folks in the Chinese cohort.